Talk 1600. You're catching the drift. Conservative talk. Intelligent conversations on local, state, and national issues with Gary Wellings, chief editor of the Current newspaper and Current Online. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your host, Gary Wellings.
And good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning to catch our drift. Joining me in studio, Dave Clark.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Dave, thanks for coming in, and thanks for having the courage to come in. Dave is one of our new sponsors at the Current and here at the Drift Radio Show. So Dave is going to join us for a few minutes here to talk about his show, and then he's got the guts. You're going to hang out with us, and we're going to talk politics, man. Great to have you along.
It's good to be here.
Yeah. So what we do every Saturday on the Drift is talk about the news we put up on the Daily Drift, and if you're not going to the Daily Drift, you should be. www.thedailydrift.com. It's the news you need to know. So make sure you're going there and checking out all the information that you won't get from the fake stream media. That's what we're getting there. So Dave, woodrehab.com, we just heard the commercial there. Tell us a little bit about what you do. It's an interesting projects that I've been seeing you do. You want to talk a little bit about how you refinish kitchen cabinets?
Yeah, we primarily have three different services. Two are geared towards kitchen cabinets. That's painting and refurbishment. And then we have deck power wash and stain, fence power wash and stain, same category. And then furniture repair and refinishing. We started out as a furniture repair and refinishing business initially and branched out. And that's part of the reason that we've been as successful as we have been with kitchen cabinet painting is due to the understanding of the finishes and what works with them in order to get the proper adhesion and to get the longevity out of the finishes. The way that we apply the paint and go through the process, we end up with a product that looks like a factory-applied finish. It doesn't look like an aftermarket paint job with brush strokes and everything else in it. So it's taken a while to get it to that level, but we've been there for a while, and we've been successful at it as a result.
Right. So if someone's looking to, a lot of us get that way. We may have bought a house in the 60s or 70s, and cabinet styles change with time. Like clothes change, yes. Cabinet styles in a kitchen change. And sometimes wood is in, sometimes it's a light wood, sometimes it's a dark wood, sometimes it's painted white, sometimes it's a different color than white, and that changes. Well, with what you do, you can roll with the changes anytime, right? It doesn't require the giant expense of completely new cabinets.
Yeah, it's phenomenally cheaper. It's a whole lot cheaper even than refacing, which is being passed off as the discount service, and it's really not once you get a quote. If you pay attention to the TV shows that are on the air, the commercials, any one of them that's shot in the kitchen almost always has painted cabinetry.
Right. And so that's really in right now.
It's very in.
Yeah. I just redid ours and I went with wood, but I've always been partial to wood. If I could do my whole house in wood and wood ceilings and everything, I probably would because I guess I'm a mole or something.
Like I said, we started as a furniture repair and refinishing company, so I'm a wood guy. Yeah. And it was a bit of a change to do that, but that was the demand.
Yeah. And you guys advertised with us last month, so you can actually see it in the Current. Go to currentonline.com, COURANTonline.com, and you can see some of the projects that Dave has done. So you can reach out to them at 248-506-6175. That's woodrehab.com, and ask Dave. He'll come out and do a free quote, right?
Yes, quotes are free.
Yeah, and so do it because they come out looking absolutely spectacular. And you've been at this for 25 years now.
Yeah, a little bit over. And we've also got a pretty good photo gallery on the website, so you can see some before and after pictures. And there's also a area on there for testimonials as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, we'll talk about that probably again at the bottom of the hour. So, Dave, I'm glad that you accepted my offer to come in because we met for coffee and we started talking, and you were quite well versed on politics, which is my life, frankly. I like I'm the politics guy. Even if I'm doing absolutely nothing but trying to relax, I have to relax with politics,
Absolutely.
And it's not necessarily the most relaxing of things, I guess, but for me it is. If I'm not watching the news or being maintained up to date and current on my politics, I get a little nervous.
No, that's what I was going to say. Sometimes it's not quite so relaxing. It depends on who you're speaking with.
Well, on this show, yes. I mean, we have a tendency to get a little upset sometimes on this. I do, anyways. But a lot happened this week. We had the confirmation hearings started with Jeff Sessions, General Mattis, Rex Tillerson, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But I wanted to start with something that kind of hit the social media really quick and hard. And it's funny, as you and I were talking about it before the show, one of our listeners, Joanne, sent me the same article that I have right here in front of me. And it struck us because, well, here's the headline. Head of the Washington, D.C. National Guard is going to be removed from his post smack dab in the middle of the inauguration. So just after 12 o'clock, when Trump's in the middle of being inaugurated, right, the Army general, and his name is Major General Errol R. Schwartz, will come right in the middle of it, classified as a national special security event. And while thousands of his troops, 5,000 National Guard, are going to be on patrol in D.C. on Friday of this week, of next week, to protect the Capitol. Schwartz himself said in an interview Friday that the timing is extremely unusual. Well, Derek, we have track one, and this will give you both sides of the story. It doesn't quite turn out to be quite as sinister as it sounds, or does it? Go ahead and play track one, Derek.
Among the law enforcement teams keeping the city safe will be D.C.'s National Guard. But their leader is going to be out of a job the moment that President-elect Donald Trump raises his right hand. Well, the story blew up on social media this afternoon. We asked Garrett Hake to look into the story behind the story, and he's live on the National Mall. So what's going on here, Garrett?
Yeah, Adam, so this morning that outgoing general gave an interview to the Washington Post in which he seemed to suggest he was being forced out by the incoming administration with no choice but to leave as soon as Donald Trump takes the oath of office. Tonight, our reporting shows that's just not the case. With 8 years under his belt as the commanding officer of D.C.'s National Guard, Major General Errol Schwartz brought experience and gravitas to the task of planning a successful inauguration.
If something goes bad, it's up to the law enforcement agency to make the first move, if you will.
But unlike in the years since George W. Bush first appointed him, General Schwartz will watch this inauguration conclude from home, stepping down as Donald Trump steps up to take the oath of office at noon. The timing is extremely unusual, General Schwartz told the Washington Post today, adding he would never plan to leave a mission in the middle of a battle. But interviews with Trump transition and Defense Department sources show that the timing was the general's decision, not the Trump team's. As a presidential appointee, just like an ambassador, Schwartz followed protocol and submitted his resignation. Before the Trump team could act on it, the military drew up plans to replace Schwartz, a senior transition official said. Two transition sources say the Trump team asked the general to stay on a few more days, just to get through the inauguration. But with his successor already chosen, Schwartz declined. He wants to ensure that there is a secure transition between two commanding generals, Guard spokesman Major Byron Coward said. That means at 12:01 p.m. Friday, Brigadier General William Walker will take over the Guard as acting commanding general. He, too, has been heavily involved in inauguration planning and spoke presciently about the ceremony to us last month.
There is a sense that you're actually witnessing history. I mean, you are. You are witnessing history. You're witnessing the transfer of power.
Okay, so big story, could have blown up into fake news story. Maybe not so much.
Well, yeah, I think with the way things have been, it's totally believable that something like that would happen because over the course of the last month, probably, it's been nothing but obstacles thrown in the way and things that are going to be irritating to Trump once he gets into office. It's just making things difficult.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm a little nervous. Now, I am actually going to be at the inauguration on Friday.
That's awesome.
And I'm excited, but I'm also a little nervous because I know there's going to be, allegedly we've got Bikers for Trump are going to be there to help out.
Good thing.
And there's going to be a lot of them. But there's, here's Michael Moore out there telling people we need to disrupt, we need to stop him. You get Rosie O'Donnell here tweeting out and talking to people saying Trump should be arrested, we need to have martial law before this. What the heck? Even as much as I hated Barack Obama taking office, I wasn't threatening to protest and impose martial law or anything else. Come on, we survived 8 years of Obama.
Well, and you're dealing with the younger generation that always got participation trophies, and they're unfamiliar with losing, and they don't understand how to deal with that.
It is. It's that crazy Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, literally, I've talked to people who have said, no, he's going to be king. He's going to install martial law himself. He's going to take over. And I'm like, did I ever sound that bad in the last 8 years? I mean, I may have put my tinfoil hat on once or twice, but I wasn't worried that Damocles' sword was going to fall on my head.
Well, some of the tinfoily stuff has turned out to be more accurate than we ever imagined. So.
Oddly enough, yeah. So so let's start right there. The big story this week, and I don't know if I'm coining anything new, but instead of lamestream media, like we've been calling it since Sarah Palin penned that term, fake stream media, and the big thing was the dirty dossier, and I think we said maybe Sunday night that happened. I'm on Twitter. I do quite a bit of Twitter, and you can catch me at Gary Daily Drift on Twitter and also on Gab. But Twitter seems to be 20 minutes ahead of the national news, oddly enough. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you can't even find stuff on Fox or CNN or MSNBC before it's on Twitter. It's there, and then you go look for it, and it comes up late. So Twitter really has turned out to be a good news source. You got to watch what you're seeing, you know what I mean? And you double check it. But I laughed because I saw it and I immediately just began searching through the cable stations and went with CNN because they were talking. And there was Jake Tapper, right? And oddly enough, kind of taking credit for this exploding story of Donald Trump being the Russians having dirty stuff on him, when they used the word salacious. We won't go into that part of it, but they were also saying Michael Cohen, his attorney, had gone to Czechoslovakia, Prague, and was meeting with the Russians, and it was funny to watch Jake Tapper kind of puff his chest out as they're talking about, we've been working on this for months, and I thought, all right,
didn't bother to vet it though, did they?
Yes, and so I really run through my mind, how am I going to deal with this? Is this true? Am I okay with this? Blah blah blah. And so I just kind of sat back on my hunches, and I didn't change my daily drift, which I normally put up a little earlier in the evening. Didn't go back and change anything. I was like, I'm going to wait and see because Fox wasn't reporting it. Right, CNN was reporting it. I didn't see it on CNBC. I didn't see it on ABC.
Even New York Times passed on it. What's that tell you?
Yeah, so I was like, something smells in Denmark here. So I did nothing, and waited till the next day. Well, immediately on Twitter and stuff, you start seeing, this is a trolling 4chan. And this is, when you talk about the deep internet people, 4chan, 8chan, these it's an odd part of the internet, and you will open your eyes to a whole new world. So I kind of got my first deep dig on the internet that way when I got invited to a couple of blogs from one of my Twitter followers, and I came back to him and said, wow, dude, do I feel not only stupid, but I'm kind of just freaked out. And so 4chan is one of these deeper internet channels, and they said we were trolled. That ended up being a troll. And we don't know if this is true or not, but they said that they gave the information to Rick Wells, who's an anti-Trump guy, who gave it to McCain, who gave it to the FBI, and then the FBI said they had it in part of the dossier. Well, it turns out none of that was even true either, right? So this came from, and then of course they said, it's MI6. No. It was a guy who used to work for MI6.
Right.
And he ended up doing that. Now, here's the question, and this hasn't really been confirmed yet. Allegedly, this guy that put this dirty dossier together was a paid political operative by someone in the Republican
some of the Republicans and then the Democrats after the fact.
Yes.
Got into it.
Yeah, so, and I've seen them, they're trying to blame it back on the Bushes, and it makes everyone think conspiracy. And God knows I love a good conspiracy as well as anywhere. But let's take a call from Joe real quick. Joe on line 1. Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey, Gary, how's it going?
Good. What's going on, Joe?
I wanted to talk about Patrick Colbeck and hopefully becoming the next governor of Michigan.
Oh, we can change gears real quick, Joe, because that interests me. I did notice that you had worked on a draft page for him, right?
Yes. If you go to Facebook, it's Draft Patrick Colbeck, You know, you could just put it, draft Patrick Kolbeck in the search bar, and you should be able to find the page. Got 150 likes so far. Join in on the conversation and try and get Pat involved. I don't know if people were tuned into Linda's